Tailoring in patch 11.1. So what's new with tailoring in this patch? What's worked and what's not worked so far this expansion? What's going to make gold this season? Let's have a look at it. We have nothing new with tailoring in this patch at all, just generally disappointing. Tailoring has been really hit and miss from my perspective so far in the War Within. The concentration crafting for tailoring has probably been the biggest letdown out of everything. Going into this expansion, tailoring looked really good. It looked like a great old army profession to be picking up. So you had the cooldown belts, and then you had the concentration, which you could use on your bolts. Personally, I preferred for your spell threads, but either way. Now, I don't know if it was simply that too many people went down this route because of basically it worked fairly well in Dragonflight with basically using the exact same profession setup, but whatever way, the numbers on this profession really did not work. Like, it's been fine, but it's been far from the best. Concentration has been mediocre for gold making with tailoring so far this expansion. None of that is going to change in 11.1. Tailoring is not the best alt army profession to be picking up. For regular crafting, on the other hand, tailoring has been pretty solid for the entire expansion so far. Using tailoring for crafting uncommon profession gear and rare cloth braces as part of the disenchanting process was really successful right at the start of the expansion, and it is starting to make a comeback as well. Now, this isn't going to make you millions of gold, but the profit margins on crafting your own stuff and disenchanting it have sort of doubled to tripled sort of in the last few weeks. So that's crafting the bolts, crafting the profession gear yourself with a biz setup. And like I said, the profit margins on this have gone up a lot recently. But to do this, you need a bis bolt crafter. And that's been the real moneymaker for tailoring so far this expansion. In the early days, this was insane. But nowadays, it's just a fairly average, reliable, solid profit. And it's at profit the vast majority of the time. Now, for the setup, profession gear-wise, as usual, you need all rank 5 rare gear. Profession tools, you're going to need 2. You're going to need a multi-craft one with a resourcefulness enchant and a resourcefulness one with a resourcefulness enchant. In addition to this, you need the severed satchel profession bag. This is going to massively boost you in Raveling. This is actually super easy to get because it doesn't require any art and security. It is by far the easiest profession bag to get out of a lot of them. Now, we're going to need a total of 135 knowledge points for this setup. We need 30 points in quality fabric, 30 points in weaving and raveling. Then we need 15 points in textile treasures, 30 points in extra threads, and 30 points in less is more. That is it for the bulk crafting build. So it's quite a simple setup. Like it's only 135 knowledge points. That's not too bad at all. Now, if you want to be crafting the stuff for disenchant, you do need 20 more points. So you need 20 points in threads of devotion because this gives you some resourcefulness when crafting that gear. So it's going to sort of slightly bring down your crafting costs a little bit. So even if you want to do that as well, then that's only 155 knowledge points in total. In addition to this, while crafting anything with tailoring, you need the File of Bountiful Seasons rank 3. The buff to resourcefulness is insane, and you absolutely need it for the profit margins that you're going to get from this, basically. Pretty essential. File of the Quick Hands from Dragonflight, super cheap, big buff to your crafting speed, along with the Weaver's buff. That's going to make sure you hit the crafting speed cap of 75%, because this setup is very reliable gold, but it's also not the best gold per hour. And because of that, you want to make sure you've got that 75% crafting speed all the time. But at least most of this is AFK crafting. You barely have to do anything with this, to be fair. Now, like I said in the inscription video, tailoring is another profession where you craft at 3 stages. And if you have that set up properly, it's very hard to not be making profit. So you're going to unravel the cloth, you are going to craft the weaver cloth bolts, and then you're going to craft the exquisite weaver cloth bolts. Now, when you're unraveling, you're going to use the resourcefulness tool. When you are crafting the bolts or the exquisite weaver cloth bolts, then you're going to use the multi-craft tool then. Now, like I said, it's very rare for the end product to not be profitable when you craft through all 3 of these stages. In addition to that, doing all this gives you a lot of different things you can sell. So if let's say you are crafting, you can craft rank 2 and rank 3 stuff. So you can sell the exquisite weaver cloth bolts at rank 2 and rank 3. And then you can sell the weaver cloth bolts at rank 2, rank 3. And then you can sell the spools at rank 2 and rank 3. Now, some of those things have better profit margins and some of them have better sales rate than the others. But it does give you a lot of different things that you can sell with this build. This is great when it comes to selling, but it makes figuring out what the actual profit margin is from initial cloth to the final product of the exquisite weave cloth bolt quite difficult and a bit of a pain in the ass, to be honest. You can't easily see that profit margin from cloths to spools to weave cloth bolts to exquisite weave cloth bolts. It's not easy to see. Now, crafting sheets are better than this than any add-on. They can go from one to the other quite easily. Now, I have one on Patreon, but I generally, even though it's not in my benefit to say this, it's generally better if you can make a crafting sheet yourself. So in the description of this video, I have the video where I talk about making crafting sheets yourself. And if you do it yourself, you understand everything that goes into the process much more. You understand the numbers behind the profession much better. And it will just be better for you if you can do it that way. It is really worth learning that basic skill if you want to be a serious gold maker, not just now, but in the future as well. Overall, I've just found this to be something that I can literally turn to nearly all the time, craft something, and be able to make some gold. It is a really nice setup. Now, the other thing you can potentially do with tailoring, gear crafting, like I've said in all these videos, demand is going to go like up ridiculously once we start getting the sparks and stuff like that. Now, the same tips I give to everybody. 1, use CraftScan. You are not going to be able to compete with people that are using CraftScan if you are not. 2, customize that message with CraftScan, because if you don't, you just look like a bot and less people are going to come to you. Number 3, you can sell cross-server doing these orders, of course. Invite somebody to a guild, get them to do it via a guild order, and you can massively increase the amount of people that you can sell to. Overall, this expansion, I can conclusively say that I've definitely made tens of millions of gold from tailoring, just doing this bolt crafting process. And like I said, it's just very reliable. Like I said, it's not the fastest, it's not the best gold per hour, but it's very reliable as far as the profit margin is concerned. But that being said, I think this profession has largely been disappointing this expansion. It was a profession I was expecting to see so much more from, especially from the alt army perspective. It's just not worked out. Now, that being said, like we said, it's a solid and reliable gold maker at the moment, and it has been, and it will continue to be. If you guys prefer this sort of information in sort of like a written guide format, then on the gold making community Discord, which is free for everybody to join, there's a link in the description below. We have written guides like this. So we have this one in particular, and we have them for some other professions as well, if you prefer things in that format. So thank you guys on Patreon who support me and allow me to create these videos. And thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time.